I'm Victor Matthias, standing in for your regular host, Ebuka Obi Uchendu. Of course, as you all know, it's the month of March, and that's the month where we celebrate women in Nigeria and globally as well. This year's celebration is hashtagged Breaking the Bias. Of course, a lot of conversations are ensuing and people are showing up to challenge the systems that might have held women down in society, career and otherwise. Today on the show, we celebrate women in careers doing phenomenal work and breaking the bias to create platforms for people in their chosen field. Of course, if you take a quick search of top Nigerian faces revealed, the film superstar Adunia Ade, she is a face and a voice to remember, of course, and you have to reckon with her as well. She's both on screen and she is an actor. Off screen, she is a producer, creating box office hits like Sole, which had the likes of Shola Shobuali, Femi Jacobs, Meg Otanwa, and a host of many others. In 2021, she had some rivalry after speaking about her relationship in the industry. She joins us today on the program. Adunia, it's a pleasure to have you today on the show.
Thank you.
How's it been with you?
Good.
You sure?
Yeah.
I can see your smiles and all of that.
Thank
But, I mean, it's almost 10 years, so to speak, now in the industry from your first entry in 2013. What would you say has been the most interesting part, you know, about building the brand, your brand, of course, that is?
It hasn't been easy, very difficult, but what has really kept me grounded is just my dedication to what it is that I'm doing. I'm very focused and I'm very intentional in everything that I do. When you know, with the industry, it's you can easily be distracted, so to say. I just focus. And I'm just that dedicated to whatever it is that I'm doing.
Yeah, but so you were able to break into, because there are millions, there are thousands of actors out there, but how are you able to break in big time, so to speak, now?
My work ethics would be one. Maybe the fact that I'm able to cut across, you know, the English and the Yoruba aspect of filmmaking, and maybe because I'm good at what I do. Yeah.
So over the years, we've seen you infuse culture, you know, which, you know, in your work, and that has even earned you, you know, an award from the Institute of Journalism. So, you know, how important is this, you know, in the stories you tell? You know, the infusion of culture in the stories you tell, how important? Why do you see that as something you really try to push in your work?
I have best of both worlds, being an American and being a Nigerian. And I believe growing up here when I was much younger, everything that I know up to date is pretty much what I learned from my childhood, and I've just pretty much used that the best way possible. And Nigeria is filled with culture. You know, you cannot just define Nigeria as just one aspect of a tribe or whatnot, but it's so much stories that you can tell in this country, and I'm just any way that I can do that, you know, through film, you know, I'm more than happy to. Sometimes, you know, my color might hinder me participating in certain kind of roles or, you know, stories. It hurts me to the bone. But I enjoy the African culture. I enjoy the Nigerian culture. Yeah,
I mean, so it's a good thing, you know, you made mention of your color, because I mean, the stories just fly around, you know, but you never can tell what it is. You know, we hear stories about, you know, the pretty privilege, so to speak. So color privilege as well also can, you know, fall under this. So you've now ventured into film production, and you said, you know, because of your color, you're not able to take some particular roles. So what are you trying to do as you ventured into production to ensure that, you know, these biases don't really play a role when people are being selected,
right,
you know, for roles in the industry?
So for someone like me, my beliefs is your behavior, your attitude, let it shine forth. I don't really care how pretty you are, how good looking you are. If you can deliver, I would rather put you up on there, you know. I've been asked before, I've actually been on a show where the topic was pretty privilege, and you know, it was interesting to hear from different public figures, you know, in different part of entertainment, both male and female. And when they asked me, Aduni, do you experience pretty privilege? And I told them, you know, I'm happy with who I am, you know, on the outside, on the inside, my color, whatever it is that defines who Aduni is. I am happy, I am blessed, and I love who I am. But sometimes, God makes no mistake, but sometimes it's more like a little curse, because we're in a society where a lot of people are bitter. I'm not saying Nigerians are bitter. But, you know, when people see someone like me, rather than just appreciate her work, her talent, what it is that she does, you know, it's more of the eye rolling, like, oh, who does she think she is?
So they begin to pick on certain things.
You know, and I'm not the kind of, I'm very grounded. When let me take this for instance. If I go into a bank hall and there's a bunch of people standing in line, I'm not the one to tell you, hey, pull me to the side and you attend to me. I'd rather stand in line and wait till my turn, because that's what I was brought up on. A lot of my colleagues may not want that, but that's you know, that's one aspect of pretty privilege, you know, because of how you look or who you are. You know, you get things given to you,
on the platter.
But for the most part, I roll with the rules. I'm not. Yeah.
You don't try to break them.
No, I don't like problems. I don't like trouble. No.
I get you. But let's look at, you know, the credit score. I mean, how people, how actors earn in the industry. What can be done? You know, because if you look at the way the structure is in Nollywood, you know, and all of that, it seems what can be done better? So let me just put it in this context. What can be done better to ensure that actors actually earn more than they do at the moment?
I might not be able to dabble too much, because I might take your whole time. Because this conversation, it needs a whole time on its own. But what can be done?
Cut it short.
Yeah, what can be done? You know, people need to just let go of greed. You know, a lot of people would rather just want an actor or a filmmaker to, you know, just help me. You can't do that. You can't keep having people do you favors or help you out here and there, and you're getting richer, and these people are getting, you know, still staying on the same level. Now, in the Yoruba aspect of Nollywood, this happens a lot. I'm sure it happens in the English, but in Yoruba, it happens a lot. And this is not me calling anyone out, but this is me saying it is time for filmmakers or folks in the film industry to get paid for what they do. Stop calling talent and telling them to come do you a favor. You're saving money to make a film rather than pay people. And even when you pay them disgusting amounts.
Peanuts.
Yes.
So the argument, you know, around that is we're trying to give you a platform, so you should be thankful. That's what we get. That's the feelers we get.
I understand, and you know, I think upbringing also has something to do with this. A lot of people who are not from the so rich, you know, families, they're eager to be seen, to be known, and they're willing to do whatever it is just to, you know, break into the industry. And I keep telling people, what is going to be will be. You don't have to rush to become popular, to become famous. You have other platforms. For instance, I've been in the industry, in the entertainment industry, 16 years, been in Nigeria for 10. When I started, this is when skit making was not even popular. I think at that time, the only two, three people that I knew was doing this was Bovi, Basketmouth, and some other comedian. And I don't know of any other female that was doing this at that time. I came out making comedy skits. I'm not a comedian, but I want to think I have a good sense of humor. And from that, that's how people began to know who Aduni Ade was. That skit that I made it gave me my first break into Nollywood. I flew from America down to Nigeria to film. And from there, you know, more calls came. I went straight into box office filmmaking. So you have avenues, more avenues now to break into the industry without you selling your soul, so to say. You know, you can use your social media rather than just type nonsense and, you know, just be, you know, I don't know the right word to use, do something other than what you're supposed to do. Use your social media as a huge platform, because your work will be seen in every part of the world.
You just might need a little bit of promotion.
Use your platform.
Indeed.
There are hashtags.
So, I mean, of course, like, you know, I said in introduction, it's the month of March.
Yeah.
You know, it's International Women's Day, and, you know, the theme is breaking the bias. How does that theme speak to you?
So when you see someone like me, I came in at the time where, you know, people did not want to give me a chance. It was pretty much like, who is this Oyibo? Why is she coming to, like, what is she coming to do here? And doors after doors were shut. But I was persistent, and I was focused. And that's all you need. Your drive, your dedication to just want to be successful can get you anywhere, can get you as far as possible. With my platform, I will just make sure that the right set of talents are seen. You know, it will always be about the talent, not what you look like, what you sound like. If you can deliver, you get the role.
Well, so let's, just as we wind down now, of course, we know in Nollywood, in Hollywood, in all of the woods you can talk about, there is always one scandal here or there. How do you handle all of those things when it comes up with you?
I try as much as I can to stay off of that. I want to be known more for my work. I want to be known for my charity work. I want to be known as a great mother. I want to be known just positively around the world. I don't like negativity. I don't like all this, you know, nonsense we see flying around, you know, scandals. And so that is not me. That's not my style. And that has just, I guess, if it's a constant reminder, you know, it keeps you in check. And that's pretty much what I do. So,
I mean, again, you just made mention of the fact that you're a mother. I mean, it's very demanding, the kind of work you do. So how do you show up all the time, you know, when you're needed? How do you mix work and parenting? I mean,
do you have kids?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask you, how do
I
you do
mix it? I know, right?
Yeah, I'm a parent. I work. I just get it done. And that's pretty much it. There was a time before I moved to Nigeria, I always worked 2 jobs. You know, it was difficult then. But, you know, I will always show up. I will always be there for my kids. And that's just part of parenting. Just do what you got to do and make sure that you have this balanced life where when your kids need you, you're there. And when work needs you, you're there. So, yeah.
You just have to put in that balance. So
yeah, just find it. There's no way to explain it. That you can't put it in words. I just get things done.
So, I mean, you already a shining star in the industry. A lot of people look up to you. A lot of people, you know, just smile just by seeing you.
Oh.
But the thing is, there are people who look up to you. You know, there are people who see you as a role model, who want to grow in the industry. What are you doing to build people in the industry to grow as well?
Well, I started my film production company last year, and I named it after my grandmother. And I came up with Sole. Now, a lot of people will tell me, Adini, you shouldn't tell the public that you funded the movie. I'm like, should I lie? I'm not good with lying. But 100% Sole, you know, the whole budget, everything came from my pocket.
Which was how much?
Whew, a lot of money. A lot of money.
Let's leave it at that then.
Yeah. With my platform, you know, I've said it a few times, I'm still going to say it again. If you've got talent, I am willing to push your face out there, and I will pay you. I don't like having people do things for free. That's not me. That doesn't mean we can't bargain and, you know, go back and forth on price, but for an upcomer or a new phase to work free under me, no, I can't. I won't be able to sleep well at night. You know, that's robbing someone. So with my platform, you know, it's just going to have to push talents, and hopefully more doors will be opened, both locally and internationally.
All right, then keep, you know, pushing all of that. This is where we'll have to call it a wrap on this conversation with you. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
I'm a fan, and of course, I'll be looking forward to more of your movies.
Thank you
for joining us on the show. We'll take a break on Rubbin Minds. I'm back with more conversations. Please stay with us. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove. Thank you for staying with us. There's still Rubbin Minds coming to you live on Channels Television. It's the month of March, the month where women are celebrated in Nigeria and the world over. And the theme for this year's event is gender equality for today. Today for a sustainable tomorrow, with the hashtag Breaking the Bias. Our guests are breaking the bias in their fields and would like to speak to them on how they keep thriving in their fields. On Rubbin Minds, we speak to some Amazons in their fields on how they are creating a platform and a sustainable tomorrow where equality thrives. And joining me today, we have Jumoke Dada as well as Tochi Okafor. It's a pleasure to have you both on the program today.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So let me just put it this way. How does this theme, how does it connect? How do you connect with this theme, this year's theme?
I think breaking the bias is something that represents a shift, you know, a shift in the way the world perceives women, a shift in the opportunities that are given to women. And I find it to be very important. So for me, it's a personal thing, because if we're not given opportunities because of our gender, how are we going to break, you know, the ceilings and also put out in the world what we're supposed to put out in the world? So yeah, it's a very important conversation for me.
What about you?
For me, especially working in a male-dominated industry like Taylor, so Taylor is a furniture and lifestyle brand. You know, starting the brand, I've always had, you know, especially men, you know, tell me stuff like, you can't do this, you're weak, this is like for men, and things like that. And, you know, this team is kind of important because, you know, people like me can get to like show a lot of younger girls coming up to say, you know what, it's possible to be what you want to be without anyone telling you what to do.
So it's good that you made mention of the fact that, you know, you had this challenge with men, you know, in the process of starting the business and even running the business to where it is today. So how can both sexes collaborate, you know, moving forward in business, of course?
I think for me, I really want, like, especially men to see that, you know what, when it comes to business, it's like a genderless, you know, environment, you know, whether you're a man or woman, it doesn't matter, as long as you get the job done. And, you know, for me, I just think like we should get to a point whereby, you know, success in business should be measured by, you know, what you've achieved, how much impact you've made, rather than, you know, what you look like, whether you're like male or female. Yeah.
So let's look at you know, how we can collaborate now in the society to create that ideal society. It's good you made mention of, you know, women not being in the same positions, you know, with men, you know, as much positions as men. Can we create the ideal society? Is it creatable, so to speak, now?
Yes, it is. I think the foundation has to be checked, because what we see is what we have conditioned to accept as the norm. So if we want to create an ideal society for women to have equality, we start from the grassroots. So from the home, what is being taught to men and women? You know, are the roles so different? Are the conversations for what a man or a woman, a child can do, boy or girl, is it so different? So if we start from there, then children grow up knowing that we're equals in terms of what we can achieve. And my gender or your gender would not affect the level to which we can grow. So we start from there. And then, of course, the education system. Those things are what really enforces what a society becomes. So everything from home life to school life to, I remember being in boarding school, and when they say time for football, there's no idea that women can play. I'm thinking, why them? Although that has changed now, but that's imagine 20 years ago. So it's knowing that woman, man, we're human beings that have capacity, and with the right, equal capacity, with the right environment, with the right nourishment in terms of mental stimulation, physical stimulation, you can accomplish whatever you desire to accomplish, regardless of your gender.
All right, so, I mean, you know, in all of this, there are many women who are holding high positions.
Absolutely.
You know, I can go on, and I wouldn't end this
Not
show
enough,
today.
though.
Exactly. So, but you know, we also have that. There's this perception out there that, you know, that female bosses are strong women. I mean, what's in your own, you know, Taylor? Let me put this to you. In your own place of work, you know, how do you handle, you know, your employees? Do they see you as this strong woman? Do they see you as this hard person? You know, what's the relationship?
For me, especially when I started at the early days at Taylor, where we did have like a lot of employees now, it was more like I have to show these people what is possible. I have to show them that, you know what, I can't play weak at this point, because, you know, we also have like guys who are like carpenters in the factory. You know, I really had to like step up and show them, you know what, but the fact that I'm a woman doesn't mean like I can't do this. I'm a woman, I'm doing it, so why don't you do it so as well? So it's more or less around leadership by example. You know, whether you're a man or woman, I get to show you, you know what, this is how it should be.
So what's the major lesson you've learned in business, and, you know, what keeps you thriving?
I think the desire to put out the work that I have inside of me in the world. So I push to make sure that whatever I'm doing, you know, today I'm running the Excited Living Company. It's a wellness company. And my desire is to help individuals, you know, live their best life, understanding what wellness really is. Recently, there's a lot of talk about wellness being an expensive lifestyle. It's you having to spend X amount of money on something. But wellness ideally is just putting yourself at the fore and taking care of yourself, making decisions that facilitate mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, and that's what it is. So for me, what keeps me is knowing that I have a lot to give to the world, and I will not stop until the world obviously has and receives what I have for them.
We can't wait for that to happen.
Same here.
Yeah, so, Jumoke, you know, educating the girl child and mentoring, you know, especially in fields where you have not so many of women in, is quite important, so that you can have many more of them coming up. Your field is one of them. We've also seen how they're rallying more women to get into tech spaces where we have, you know, STEM, you know, for girls and for women and all of that. You know, I'm beginning to think, you know, how can that happen? You know, how can you get more people, you know, how can you get more women? How can you educate them, mentor them, you know, to also be in that space and do it with joy? Because if you don't like the work you're doing, it's going to rub off on how you do that work. So how do you get more women, children, girl child? How do you mentor them, educate them, you know, in all of those fields where we don't have as many? How do you make it attractive for them, actually, you know, to get into?
I think for most women, I think one of the major issues they've had is, if I do this, I can't see myself making so much impact. For instance, if I get into furniture manufacturing, for instance, I can't see myself making much impact. And for us at Taylor, for instance, part of the things we're currently doing is to like partner with hubs that like doing like a lot of trainings for women, especially when it comes to like, because currently right now we just hire some women who are like carpenters. And I think like for us it's really like, at Taylor, we make all these pieces in-house, right? But we have like thousands of people who are using these pieces. You can literally bring joy into the homes of as many people as possible, not just in Nigeria alone, but outside like Nigeria and other many African countries as much as possible. Yeah. So for them, if they get to see that, you know, they see that they are, you know, keying into something that is much more bigger than themselves, and with collaboration with like all these hubs who are like doing a lot of trainings for women, maybe in furniture manufacturing or in tech, you know, it's like really going to like help bring up more women like in the nearest future.
All right, so that's on one part, Tochi. Let's look at the other part, you know, educating the girl child, you know, rural and urban centers, it is absolutely, you know, important. So how best can we address this conversation of educating the girl child? Because we understand from the about 10.5 million that the, you know, UN says are out of school, and the percentage of the girls is also, you know, high. How do we address that challenge?
I think the first thing is to look at where the numbers are coming from. The group that has that high number, what is it about their beliefs and their values that make them think a girl child does not deserve to be educated? Because it is parents not taking their kids to school. It's not that there are no schools. So to address the issue, yes, we clamor from the top to educate girls, but we need to also educate the parents on the need to take their children to school, on the need for their girls to be equally educated as their boys. So that's where the conversation really starts, because the government can set up schools, but if no one comes, you're not going to have anyone in the classes. So why are girl children not being registered? What's the problem? So it's the belief of the group of people and why they don't think girl children deserve that kind of, honor, because education is an honor. So I think if we can address the problem with the parenting and the culture of the places that believe in that, we can start to make the change.
All right. Let's hope that all of that will be looked into. To ensure that from that group where we have the higher numbers,
yes,
things change. But as we wind down this conversation in just 1 minute, what would be your charge to women, in regards to the theme for this year's celebration? 1 minute.
Everything that you think you can do it. And everything that you think you can't is because you don't believe it. So you have to work on your self-belief, because every single thing is possible for you as it is for every other, for men as well.
What about you, Jumaka?
My charge to women is just be bold.
All right, be bold, and of course do whatever you want to do so far you believe you can do it.
Yeah,
I have to say thank
absolutely.
you for joining us on the show and
Thank you.
sharing this explosive thoughts on this special celebration. Thanks once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
And of course, I celebrate you as well.
Thank you.
As I celebrate all women today. Thank you
you
very much. We'll now shift our attention to another burning issue in the country. That's the scarcity of fuel, and we go straight to our Abuja studio where we have Omono Okonkwo. She is, I beg your pardon, an oil and gas expert. First of all, happy International Women's Month. Of course, the day is not here yet, but it's around the corner. So first of all, I celebrate you, and I celebrate the work you're doing. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Indeed, we're glad to have you as well. So, Nigeria is said to be the giant of Africa, with an abundance of oil and a heavy dependence on oil as well. But, as it is today, in the past couple of days, couple of weeks, I can even put it at that, there's been scarcity of fuel. So how does it make you feel as a Nigerian that it's a struggle to get fuel in one of the world's major oil producers?
Well, I feel helpless, just like every other Nigerian out there. The fuel scarcity actually started a month ago, in February. So, and ever since then, we've had issues with transportation costs. A lot of employees are having issues with their employers based on the time they spend trying to get mass transit buses for those who don't drive. And even those who drive, some of them have had to park their vehicles because they don't want to waste the time they would use being productive to go queue at fuel stations trying to get fuel. So it's a big problem for everybody, and we're all feeling the pinch. So as a Nigerian, of course, I am affected, and of course, I have to also remember, I'll talk about the people who have had their car engines affected by contaminated fuel. Also, their generator sets. So you see, it's a big problem for everybody. And we are all feeling the pinch. So as a Nigerian, it's actually a crazy situation thinking about the fact that Nigeria is a major crude oil producer in the world, and we still have to face issues like this. So, a lot of people are feeling the pinch, me inclusive, and it's a big problem for everyone.
So a lot of explanations have been given as to why we are where we are. But how convinced are you, by all of the explanations given as to why we have scarcity of fuel in the country at the moment?
Okay, like I said, this whole situation started in February when we got fuel from Belgium. And the amount of methanol in the fuel was about 20%, which is way higher than the nationally accepted level of methanol in PMS. So there you have it. All these institutions are coming out to give explanations. Yes, this is what happened, inspection failure and all that. But at the end of the day, I am more interested in strategies put in place to make sure that this problem comes to an end and doesn't happen again. As you know, hope is not a strategy. Because right now, a lot of Nigerians are hoping, okay, yes, today is Sunday and tomorrow is Monday. We're going into a new work week, and we are hoping that, oh, yes, this problem solves itself. But what are the strategies coming from these institutions giving us explanation? Right? So it's not just about giving an explanation on what happened. We want to know that, oh, yes, you are actively making decisions or coming up with strategies to make sure that this comes to an end.
Well, speaking about this, coming to an end, we've noticed that there's been a lot of panic buying and even hoarding. Perhaps that's one of the reasons why it has also been prolonged. How do you see this playing out in the next coming days? Do you see things changing? Do you think it is also one of the reasons why the scarcity is still persistent?
Well, when we talk about hoarding and panic buying, I think it stems from a place of fear of the unknown. Many people they have this mindset like, okay, fine, if I have access to an active fuel pump, I might as well fill my generator. I might as well buy a full tank in my car so I can take my kids to school, so I can go to work. I might as well get extra gallons so I can have extra fuel in case this runs into another week or 2 more weeks, right? So that's where it comes from. And it's in our nature in the country. I mean, this is not the first time we're having fuel scarcity in Nigeria. We've actually had a few episodes in the recent past. So hoarding and panic buying, it's normal for Nigerians whenever there is fuel scarcity. Now, in the coming days, I think the NNPC has said that they have 1.7 billion liters of fuel to distribute to NNPC depots. So I feel like we should just wait out the next few days and see what happens. Although this promise, I think this statement was made about, is it 4 or 5 days ago? And as of now, we still have, really long queues in Abuja. So we're just waiting to see what happens. As for the marketers, I think they have said that they usually get fuel from private depots because many people are complaining they are getting fuel at 250 naira per liter or 280 naira per liter. So these marketers are saying that they're buying at an increased rate, so they have to make profits on that.
So you made mention of this, of us having this episode, in the past few years as well, So it's not the first time, and it seems we have a history. So how do we end this? What's the long-lasting solution to this quagmire that keeps rearing its head once in a while and putting Nigerians at this, putting them just in a suffering state?
Well, I think we need a total cleanup of the fuel supply chain in Nigeria. A total cleanup. First off, the government needs to put an end to fuel subsidies and create a diversified energy mix in Nigeria. Right? I mean, if your economy is running mainly on oil, definitely, and you don't have local refining capacity, definitely you will run into issues like this. So I think a total cleanup is needed. We need to start refining locally. We also need to get rid of fuel subsidies. Right? There is a saying that goes, if you want more of something, subsidize it. If you want less of something, tax it. So if you give Nigerians an option for natural gas, right, and you subsidize LPG and other forms of natural gas in the mainstream, then I think we wouldn't have a lot of people depending only on fuel. I mean, we already have a policy addressing that, the Nigerian Gas Expansion Program, which advocates for natural gas for power supply, natural gas for industrialization, and natural gas for cooking, which is LPG. So if you have other forms of energy, where Nigerians can convert their internal combustion engine vehicles to natural gas-based vehicles, they would have an option, right?
Yeah.
If there is no PMS, they can get natural gas at a cheaper rate, right? So we need a total cleanup, and we need to refine locally.
All right, just that going by your admonition that subsidies should be taken off, going by the economic indices in the country at the moment, a lot of Nigerians might feel that would not actually help the matter. I wish we could go on though, but this is where we have to round it up on the show. Thank you as well for joining us today on the show and sharing your thoughts on the International Women's Day, also looking at the fuel scarcity. Thanks again for joining us on the show. Omono Okonkwo, you joined us from our Abuja studio. Of course. And that's the show today. Thank you all for watching. I'm Victor Matthias, again standing in for your regular host, Ebuka Obi Uchendu. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for watching.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show